Well, I'm Matt with the Geek Awakens, and we're here with Warwick Johnson.
Hello.
Comic book writer, and actually friend from high school.
That's right.
So-
We go back in the day, Rocket Pride.
Exactly. So you've had a booth a couple of times. You're here this year. The big thing you're pushing or selling this year is your graphic novel.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about The Empty Grave.
Yeah, so The Empty Grave, it's a story of a bounty hunter. She comes back to life to get revenge on the people that killed her. So it's a nice, revenge, action story. So it was 4 issues. The last issue was double-sized, so it was actually 52 pages for issue number 4. And then in the spring, our trade that collected the whole story came out from Print Ninja, did the printing of it, and it turned out really well. And so we ran a Kickstarter for the trade.
Okay.
So those have all gone out to all of our backers, and now we're doing the convention season and doing some signings. So
Fantastic. So the story of Empty Grave, is it done, or will we see more from them?
Well, I mean, not to spoil too much stuff, but there is a possibility that we'll do some more stuff in the future. I mean, maybe not necessarily Annabelle. Annabelle's story is kind of perhaps done, perhaps not. But there are other characters kind of in the world that we can do. There's a big chunk of Annabelle's life before she dies that we can cover. So we can always go back to it, do almost like a prequel.
Very nice.
Her father's a big character in the book, but he's been dead for years. So I think there's some stuff that we could tell about William back in the day. So
All right.
you never know. If people buy the book and people really love it, eventually I'll get back to it.
So when we had talked before, you had mentioned, you said Print Ninja did the printing.
Yep.
But you had some logistical challenges getting the books here from the Kickstarter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing that everybody dealt with, right? Like in the spring, shipping and everything was a mess, and so that we were part of that. So there was a huge backlog of shipping containers. They were getting to the LA port. So because they do offset printing. So we were able to do a 750 print run of this.
Okay.
And the reason we were able to do that well is because they have this really great facility set up in China to do offset printing. Well, the problem is it gets on a boat and then it comes here. So the boat takes about 3 weeks or so, but then it was sitting out at sea for 3 weeks more, and so we were everything got pushed back because of it. I mean, and it's kind of the nature of the beast right now, right? I mean, I think logistics are a lot easier now. Supply shortages aren't really as prevalent. But, it's one of those things where you never know what's going to happen because of, what is going on in the world. And so we just kind of rolled with it. We just let our backers know, hey, this is going to be a little delayed. But we were able to get things like the stickers that we sent out for everyone. So that was a stretch goal. So we were able to get all of that stuff together. So when the books came, everything just went right out at the same time.
Well,
so,
awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. So Empty Grave is not the only thing you've written.
That's right.
Give us a little spiel about some of the other ones you've done.
Sure. So Empty Grave is the big story that I've done, but I also worked on a series called Bedeviled, and that was 2 issues so far. And it's a woman's possessed by a demon, and she uses it to go hunt down monsters in New Orleans. I like fantasy monster stories, so that was kind of a side thing that I did for fun while we were working on Empty Grave, while that was in progress. Right now, I'm working on a novel.
Okay.
So, because I'm actually also in grad school at DePaul, so I've been working on a novel and several different short stories. So I'm trying to branch a little bit more into prose too.
Okay.
But on my website, I have a bunch of different short comics that I did, just web comics that people can go and read for free and check it out, kind of just a way to practice doing different genres. So I have a sci-fi story, I have a couple superhero stories, so things that I wanted to write, and then I just had made and put it online for people to read. I have a very fun vegetable story where the vegetables have been left in the crisper so long, and so now they're old and decrepit, old men. So that was a fun story that I did with a really good friend of mine, Allie Canarella, and she just was terrific. She just nailed it. So that's one that I always really love, and I point people to. I'm go read this. It's very fun, very silly, but also has a really weird, depressing ending. So I'm yeah, it's not going to end happily. They're old vegetables.
So you have had a booth here at C2E2 before, and I know that you had been to San Diego this year.
Yeah, as a fan, which was terrific. San Diego's great. Everybody should go at least once. I waited in line for Hall H for Marvel Studios this year. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But it was a very cool experience this time.
Okay.
And then plus getting to meet a bunch of different comics creators, comics people there. It's really fun. It's much more of a film and television like
Show.
convention.
Okay.
So I know people that have worked San Diego, and I think it would be fun to do San Diego, but I think I'd want to do it if I was able to do panels or do it with like a bigger studio. Like I don't think I would do it by myself.
Okay.
C2E2 is great because there's a lot of independent comics artists that are here, especially Chicago people. It has a really strong Chicago artist presence, and I think that's what really makes the show so successful. Everybody spends a lot of time in Artist Alley, and it's a really great show because of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the last thing is plug yourself. Tell our
Yeah.
listeners where they can find you online and what to do.
So on Twitter, you can follow me at Warwick_Johnson. I guess there's another Warwick Johnson out there. I don't know. It's news to me. But if you go to Warwick_Johnson, you can follow me on Twitter. I talk about writing and also wrestling. So if you're into those two things, like that'll be fun. And then on Instagram, I'm Warwick S. Johnson. So, and then upcoming, I've got my novel that I'm finishing up. So hopefully I'll shop that around sometime soon. And I've got a couple other comics things in the works where I'm developing like a modern day ghost story.
Okay.
And then I've got a superhero series that I've been kind of working on that might start getting into development pretty soon. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking time to talk to us.
thank you, Matt.
And enjoy the rest of your con.
You as well.
Thanks.